"Mommy, mommy, mommy!" Beda shouted, excited. "Shut up, Beda, not yet," Leon ordered in low voice, signaling her to shut up. "But," Beda said with disappointed voice and flooded eyes. Leon signaled her to shut up again in a sweet way, held her hand, and hid behind a car. Everything was well thought out. He had been thinking about it since the day that Yellow Wolf turned up at work to report her death. "It was an accident on active service," she said. Of course, they all were accidents. He even helped to plan some of them. Leon didn't work for the government. He worked in a food department store. When his wife came to the power, he was promoted to manager. It wasn't that he didn't worth it, nor he needed political favoritism. It was that there was few. They weren't necessary either. They didn't do anything. That gave him time off to lend a hand to his wife. It was a really hard blow. He didn't see it coming. Everything seemed quiet. Last party's conspiracy were calmed with a holiday abroad in a relaxing spa. As far as he knew, nobody pretended his woman's place, nor she had done anything such bad that deserved an accident. But he took it with the same cool-headedness that sometimes dropped a dynamite. He thought for a moment on the best way to say it to his daughter, and told the Yellow Wolf to take him to see his wife's body and give her the last goodbye. Unfortunately, that is not possible, the Yellow Wolf said with coldness. He didn't insist, and asked when the funeral would be. There always was an official funeral, with all the honors, the wreaths, and the crying. They had to make everybody clear what happened to those who didn't fit in the government plan. Leon didn't pay attention to what Yellow Wolf said. Tomorrow at 13:40 sounded like an echo in his pain. What would have happened? He wondered once again. He dropped the newspaper on the table and left, almost over Yellow Wolf's step, to pick up his daughter. Through the playground windows he could see several kids drawing. He thought that education wasn't the best, and at home he supplemented his daughter's training with the books he kept from his student years. He didn't want Beda to become some government descendant's puppet. Those descendants that studied out of the city. Send her abroad was other alternative, but nor Adina nor him had never considered it. "We didn't have a child not to have her," they said. Beda grew up happy, enjoying the trivial activities at school and the attentive company of her parents at home, miraculously foreign to every intrigue around her. When she saw her father, she couldn't imagine that something bad had happened. She thought that they had to go to the doctor to receive one of those vaccines they gave her sometimes, telling that it wasn't going to hurt, even it was, and that it was going to help her not to be ill. Even she didn't know what it meant, because she had never suffered any illness. It was when her father hugged her that she felt the sadness and the anguish, and when she saw his full of tears eyes, knew that there wasn't a happy ending like in the tales her teacher told them. She burst into tears even before her father told her what had happened, and started to call her mother without knowing why. At the funeral things didn't go better for Beda, not for Leon. Leon fought against the pain with his usual coldness, and with the longing for knowing which of all that cast were after his wife's accident. Meanwhile, the Yellow government leader read the Hagiology of Adina pretending affectation. He saw a beginning for whatever it was. It couldn't end that way. He couldn't be left on his own with a child to take care of. They couldn't take his beloved wife away from him, even though he had helped to take some beloved wives and husbands away. Not to him. He felt a mixture of powerlessness and ridicule. How many times had he been standing out in others' official funerals? How many times had he been standing looking with indifference at an urn, with a body knocked down with gunfire or poisoned ashes inside? How many times in a situation like that had he felt a deep down joy for his wife's promotion? He sought on the faces that feeling he knew so well, that joy behind the indifference, or even worse, behind the despair tears. There were few new faces, just the necessaries to fill the gaps. When the leader finished his lecture, he had found the person who would fill Adina's place, the person who laid a trap for her, and the person who ordered it. This time the leader didn't seem to be guilty. He had pretended emotion, but he hadn't cried. In the line to the power was his wife's assistant, the one who smiled deep down, the third leader, the one who breathed with relief, and the second leader, the one who covered the urn with a victorious look. At the back rows, he noticed a tear of real pain, a tear that ran down by the cheek of his wife's secretary that furtively held a bodyguard's arm.